It actually began when I was trying to operate a family business. It was going okay until 9/11. All of a sudden, nobody wanted their landscaping done anymore. People were just being more careful about their money. We weren't able to, for a few years after that, to take care of the business as we should have. And so whatever monies there were, we just used to kind of survive on.
Our basic necessities had to come first. It was a matter of paying the rent, paying the car note, paying on, the kids' tuition or whatever was absolutely necessary. And so we would earmark money to pay the IRS, and we had every intention of doing it, but we always seemed to fall just a little bit short.
If given the choice to feed my family or pay my taxes, I would feed my children every day of the week and take care of the tax problem later.
We eventually ended up having to move out of our home, and within the year we had to sell it. And by the time I got here, the penalty and interest and the money I owed, I think, had gone up to about $35,000. At the time, there was a lot of direct communication with IRS about trying to find some way to work through this. But what they did, they set up an agreement, and then I would get the next month's billing, and it would be greater than the last month's, even though I had paid. And I came to realize that what they had me do was agree to pay enough to satisfy some of the penalty and interest. But by the time it came back the next month, the balance was even greater than the previous month's.
They had hired the out-of-town salesmen, several of them at different firms, and had, of course, just sent a lot of money out of state to these companies who were doing nothing towards solving their tax problem. Really were doing more harm than good as far as getting their case resolved.
That was actually a real nightmare. We decided to hire what we thought was a reputable tax firm that we saw advertised over TV in the big city, Houston, Texas. We took money that we didn't have, and we gave them a retainer, and we were trying so desperately to get out from under because we knew that every month that went by, the penalties and the interest were just growing and growing and growing. So out of frustration, we would find ourselves even getting at odds with each other.
They really were in a bad way, I think, amongst themselves. They were, of course, when you have a tax problem, usually not getting along. You're staying awake all night, and I think even to the point, to where they were really being challenged.
When clients come to us, typically they're very stressed. It's a huge burden on their shoulders. It's the first thing they think about when they wake up and the last thing they think about before they go to bed.
They nickeled and dimed us to death because every time they turned around, we needed to send them another $500 or another $1,000. And we never got anything for that money, not one thing.
And they came to us, and we were able to get a hold of the situation.
And they were patient and loving and kind, and then they offered me solutions. And that was the first time that anybody really genuinely seemed to care. They seemed to really understand. They knew what to do, they knew how to handle the problem, and they were quick and they were efficient.
I still remember where I was working out in College Station, Bryan, Texas, I should say, when I got the call, and Cary Bryson told me that this is what they had agreed. I remember thinking, boy, it's going to be a hefty monthly payment. And she said, no, it's $550. You think you can handle that? And I was just so happy. I remember, yes, we can do that.
Money can't buy caring. And for them, it's not about how much you give them. It's that they genuinely care about making your life better.
Well, they're part of our family now, and they're just in a much better place. And to know that you were able to assist them and coach them and guide them through their really difficult time in their lives and get them to this much better place where they're at peace with themselves and with each other is just truly gratifying and rewarding that you can't even describe.